Why be an exhibitor in a trade show? So we're going to break this down. There are times that I would absolutely say yes, and there's probably more times at a certain level in your career you say absolutely no, like a no, never. All right, so let's break this down. Number one, what are the reasons why you would attend? Maybe not attend. Number two, not all events are created equally. And number three, what's the information you want to collect while you're there? Like, what is the agenda and the outcome that you want? And you want to design that into a contract. So stay to the end. I'm going to talk about contract points that are not negotiable when I'm booking these kind of events. Got a pen and paper? All right, well, reasons to attend. Well, first of all, an exhibit in a trade show is very different than an endorsed live stage with another influencer. So if it's an endorsed live stage with another influencer and I can take the stage, I can sell either a small product or I can go for a big one, or I can also just get names, phone numbers, and emails. I'll typically do it because it's highly endorsed. Exhibit trade shows are usually industry kind of driven events. So I have just recently been to some, and I do go to them, but under very clear circumstances, like why are you there? And what are the reasons you want to attend? So let's make a list right now. So get a pen and paper. Number one, you want to showcase your newest product, or you're offering whatever you're doing. Or just recently, like we went into the AFCA, which is American Football Coach Association, because I wanted to break into that market. I wanted that industry. I know I can totally help coaches and their wives at any level get to another and a better place, from taxes to making money. How do they invest it? How do they use a team? All of it. Number two, you want to be there to expand your customer base. But again, we'll get to what information do you collect and when and how in a little bit. Number three, you want to just go to close sales. Like if you've already been in the industry, a lot of times you could do specials and go close sales. I know a lot of people who at their trade booths will actually have little areas to break out and actually do business there. They're not just showcasing, they're there to close business, and they actually have quotas for their sales amounts that they're going to do. So another reason is just see what other people are doing in your niche. You may not need to have a booth or actually be there, but you may want to be there in attendance. So there's kind of two ways you look at, I think you look at exhibits and trade shows and things like that. Do you actually have a booth, or do you just attend? And what can you get done by just walking the aisles, or what do you get done by standing there in a booth? It kind of depends on the experience you want. The more experiential you can create your booth, like we've had booths before where people come and they stand in the money booth and they can hit the button and like money goes crazy, and the amount of that you can grab, you get to keep. So like the more interactive and fun your booths are, typically you're going to get more traffic. It's also, you want to see what your competition's doing out there. What else is coming in the space? What other new technologies are there? What other new offers are there? What's going on in the space? Because it changes pretty frequently. Another reason is just a typical exposure. And if you're going there for exposure, make sure you have some really good videographers that can actually capture and then bring your video of all of your booth onto your web page. So you'll actually have some follow-up traction and that can last anywhere between 90 days, 6 months, maybe even a year. Last one is to recruit a team, get more leads, names, phone numbers, emails, all of that. So again, it's kind of a decision point on your side whether you want to go or not. There's a huge decision point when I'm entering a market versus if I'm in a mature market where I'm typically a keynote. I tend to not get a booth. Again, it depends on what you want to do. Now let's talk about number two. Not all events are created equal. So what do I mean by that? Well, sometimes they're just like fun events. Like I've been to women events where it was like like a women conference, and there's jewelry and clothing and makeup and all these cool fun things, but it's really just a networking, go, connect with other women kind of an event. There's not a sales event. There's not a structure to creating new business. Remember, you're going to have travel costs. You're going to have staff costs because you probably aren't going to go alone. You're going to have booth costs, banner costs, collateral costs. We just did one where we actually put together a beautiful leather USB that we gave it out to every person in exchange for their name, phone number, email, address, all their information. So we were doing a lead generation by giving a gift. So it kind of depends on what your outcomes are and where you want to go with it. But think through being there. What's the cost to be there? What's the objective to be there? And can you get it done given the numbers? And I'm going to again talk about the contracts that you want to be signing. And you do want these in contracts. You just don't want to be throwing money, out for sponsorships and exhibit booths and then not having a clear outcome and objectives, especially in this environment post-COVID. A lot of people are promising big numbers, and honestly, between you and I've not seen anyone come in even close to the numbers that I've been promised. I was promised recently a big show in Vegas, hundreds and hundreds of people, Problem is, market it all on Facebook, all like not through a database, but through followers. I spoke to, I think, 52 people. I didn't see hundreds ever. Also hundreds and hundreds, spoke to 40 or 50. So you ought to know, like, is the volume critical, and is there another way that you can actually counter and collect, still trying to get to the goal that you have. Now, before I go on to the last few points, I want you to subscribe to my channel. As you can tell, I have loaned many, many, many companies. I'm a millionaire in 8 categories: real estate number 1, gas and oil number 2, flipping companies number 3. So I know companies, I know how to run them, I know how to help you make decision points of whether you should be doing these things or not. Subscribe to my channel, click the notification button, be out here all the time. I'm doing a binge challenge right now. If you watch 25 hours of my YouTube channel, which we have a process to track that you're doing it, you can credit $750 towards some new mentoring or coaching process within our community. So love to have you do that. And then share with other people who need to know this information. It is so critical. It is vital. I've committed to being out here 5 days a week for you in money and business. If there's a topic that you want me to talk about or dig deeper into this one, put it in the comments section and I'd be happy to come back out and give you more details. Third point I want to talk about is what's the information you collect while you're there? Well, always your name, phone number, and email. Always. I'm getting name, phone numbers, emails. So I wouldn't give, say, nice leather, USB sticks that cost $5-6 to anyone without their name, phone number, and email. They're just not a free giveaway. There's an exchange for the information. I also have done, and I highly encourage you to do drawings so people can come to your booth. They give you, again, name, phone number, information. So I'm always number one looking for new leads that'll generate to a new client. What else are you there to do? Is it exposure? Is it recruiting a team? You could be out there hiring. So again, know your agendas. And last and not least at all is the contracts. At least have a one-page understanding. This is what you're doing. This is what I'm doing. This is what I can load in. This is what you cover. This is what I cover, down to whether they'll put electricity at your booth. All these things are critical that you have to put in there. Can you sell anything if you have an opportunity to speak? So know all of those points. Be super clear. Have it be in writing. Who pays for what? And a clause that I put in a lot, that if they're promised me a lot of numbers and they miss at a certain level, I get to keep a certain amount of money to at least cover all my costs before I share any revenue with them. So I have a lot of contractual experience. Those of you who really want to work with me and help, let me and my almost 30 years now of contractual experience help you, go to askloral.com, put in your name, phone number, email, say, hey, I want to talk to Loral, somebody on our team, about working with her directly. I have some contracts I need to do. I have a huge contractual background and history. I'm not a lawyer, but I will just tell you behaviorally some things you need to be watching out for. Look forward to working with you. We'll talk to you tomorrow.